I am getting news that we are live here. I hope you guys didn't wait too long here. I know I'm about 3 minutes behind. I was spreading the word, trying to share that this was live and that we were here and ready to go. I am getting notice that this says poor stream status. I am streaming in higher quality this time, and I'm not sure if my computer is keeping up, or I should say if my internet is keeping up here. So we'll give it a second, see how it reacts, and then move forward. So if you are here, let me know how it's going. Worst case, I think it will stabilize in just a moment here after we've gotten started. So welcome. For those of you that are watching after, I always leave these up, so I'm sure a lot of you are watching this after the fact. But we're going to go through a few guitars today. If you're curious what we're going to go through, there are timestamps in this video if you're watching after the fact. And even if you're watching right now, you can see in the description of this video I put which instruments I'm going to be going through and playing some things on. But the fun of the live stream, I can just make a normal video and it not be live. The fun of the live stream is that if you comment a question or you want to hear something specific on the guitar, I might be able to do that for you. And I'll certainly be able to answer any questions that you have. So that's always fun. If you want to get armed with a cup of coffee, that is cool too. I have one right here. Cheers to you. And grab your sandpaper, file your nails. That's what I'm doing over here. I'm still getting noticed that some frames are dropping. Wow, skip frames 43% over the past 2 minutes. Hopefully that's not the case. Looks good, sounds good, awesome. That's good to hear. It might just be for my computer. It just barely can handle everything. The preview of it may not come through as smooth. So, hello Don, nice to see you here, and hope more of you are able to join soon. Well, I ought to just get started. I like giving people a couple minutes to join here, but I don't want it to be too boring for those of you that are, or for those of you that are watching later thinking, when's this guy going to shut up and show these guitars? Maybe I'll start by telling you a little bit about my week. Let's see, I've been doing some long runs lately. The weather is getting nicer out here, so that's been really great. I've packaged and shipped a couple of guitars, which was nice. It's always nice seeing them going to new owners. However, it's always a bit of a stressful experience. Even though I've never had a shipping issue, it's always a little bit stressful waiting for someone to get a guitar. And, you know, you always fear something like, hey, the guitar's crushed, what do I do? You know, fortunately it's never happened, but it does bring a little bit of anxiety. I've got to figure out a way to let that go. Anyways, we've got a nice allotment of guitars here today to show you. Maybe one is similar from last week. I'll try to mix it up, but I've got some interesting ones. I think there'll be interesting guitars to compare this week. Starting with what's in my hands here is this beautiful 1989 Hauser III, which is, if you were to say that it was finished yesterday, I would believe you. Like if you were to just hand me this guitar, it's in perfect condition. I mean, I can't even find a nail mark, so I'm very careful when playing this. It's in such crazy great condition, and it has a Brazilian rosewood back, which, you know, with the lights going, it's very hard to show you how nice the back is here, but it's a really great Brazilian rosewood back. And yeah, fantastic guitar. You can see the big Hauser label here. If once it focuses, there you go. It's very nice. Really beautiful rosette, classic Segovia design here, original Landstore for tuners. Yeah, and for those of you that are just joining, let me know if it's looking good. It's still telling me that there's not enough video data to maintain smooth streaming, but I'm seeing the preview here and I'm pretty happy with it. Don down here says it's good, so that's good to hear. But, well, let's go ahead. I'll get started showing you these guitars. Beware, these are going to be my first notes of guitar playing here today, so I'm going to start slow. You're not going to hear me playing some Paganini here at the start. I was kind of busy getting things ready to go and checking the stream. But here we go. Here is this 1989 Hauser III. really nice open sound. I've still yet to change the trebles on this guitar. They're very old. But man, this if you tuned into last week's stream, if you tuned into last week's streams, you will have noticed that right before I picked up this guitar, I said, "Hey, listen, I just changed the bass strings on this guitar," and so these have sat on the guitar for about a week now. I haven't played it so much because honestly, I'm needing to change the trebles, but I'm giving you a first look at it anyways. But these Hauser III guitars are really sought after. A lot of people are big fans of these guitars, and this one has had some age to it. Now that it's 1989, it's now 30-something years old. Looks like it was built yesterday. And while I can't say it looks like it's been played a lot, because honestly, if someone had played this a lot, you would be able to tell even just little marks here and there. It hasn't been played. So if you're looking for a guitar that's been broken in by time, tension on the strings, and some, there's color to the spruce top too. I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like an older spruce top that's been on a guitar for a while. But if you're looking for one that's in perfect condition, this is it. It's really, really great. Easy to play. A low action with room to lower as well. Tune this for a second here. That's that third string was too sharp. I thought something interesting to talk about here, especially for those of you that are watching now or tuning in later. And by the way, if you are watching now, let me know if the stream is looking good. It says poor, so that's where I'm at as far as what YouTube is telling me here. But I'm watching the preview, and like I said, it actually looks pretty good. But I want to tell you a few of the things that I look for when testing a guitar, especially now that, to be honest, I'm a little bit desensitized to trying so many guitars, making so many videos on them, getting to know them to a deep level. Some things I should start by what I test it with, because you don't even know what you can really look for a guitar if you're not testing it in the right way. And one of the biggest mistakes I see when people test guitars is they go straight to playing the repertoire that they just started working on. So if you just started a Scarlatti sonata, a piece by Carulli or Giuliani, anything it is, if you just started in, I get that you're excited about it and you've been listening to it a lot. But if you just started a piece, it's not going to be the best piece to test on the guitar. You ought to test a piece that you know really, really well. The type of piece that you can roll out of bed and start playing. For a lot of people, it's something very simple like Targa's Etude in E minor. Or Spanish Romance, Or Villalobos Prelude 1. Pieces that you know extremely well are the best things to test guitars on. I'll see some young players come and try guitars and they immediately jump into something that is really hard, really difficult. And there's a number of reasons why, even if the piece is under your fingers, why playing something that's extremely difficult isn't the best thing to start with on a guitar. And some of this is common sense, but one of the main problems with jumping into trying a guitar with something difficult is that you're not giving your hands time to adjust. And it doesn't matter how similar the guitar is to yours. Every guitarist needs a little bit of time to adjust to a new guitar. The sound of it, what makes it sound good, and of course differences in the right and left hand setup, right? Maybe one has a little bit wider string spacing, or one might have a little bit more responsive of a right hand touch. That can greatly change the way you react to a guitar. So if you're playing something really fast or really difficult, you're not going to even make those changes on the fly, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to make this guitar sound really, really bad, to be honest with you. So that's one thing that you want to do. Make sure it's something easy and slow, and it doesn't even have to be a piece of music. It can just be playing notes on a string. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is just play an open string, like the open E, and play notes in the key of E major or E minor, you know? So here I'll do E major. See, I'll get to know each string that way. You'll see in my demos I do things kind of a similar way, right? Like I test each string. Maybe I'll do E minor. You can test things out. Now, E minor and E major is very, very different as far as what notes you're playing. So you might want to do the same thing, but E major. By the way, if improvising or playing scales isn't really your thing, that's kind of a thing to I would encourage you to get good at. Doesn't mean improvising. You don't need to be able to improvise all over all of the jazz standards, but to really be able to explore an instrument and I don't know, start to write music and things like this, you need to be able to know all the notes on the fingerboard. And doing something like I'm suggesting here is actually a way I recommend to a lot of students to just get a start with this kind of stuff. And I think my camera just froze. So I am going to, wow, I'm trying to see in the stream if it shows that. I'm pretty sure I froze. So I am going to have to re-add the camera device. Video capture device, add source. Okay, and I should be back. Yeah, okay, I did freeze. That's awesome. Great. I got to figure that out. But I am back. Wow, well, I can't say that this stream is free of hiccups. I'm still figuring things out here, but thanks for tuning in for those of you that are here. So I was saying that this is a really great way to test guitars, is to just play notes on all the different strings in a certain key. See, I'm really looking forward to a string change on this guitar because this third string, I'm just not quite as used to playing on a nylon third string. To be honest, I think most of the time carbon is better for the third. However, you start getting used to it and you play it a little bit brighter and then now it sounds more like carbon. When you get used to playing carbon strings, a thing I've noticed is since they are a little bit brighter, you get used to compensating with the stroke of your fingers. And if you go back to playing nylon strings, because it's so warm and such a thick string, and you play with that same warmth, you're going to get too tubby of a sound, as we'll call it, like this kind of sound. It's very, very warm and thick sound, which is nice for some things, but bad when you're trying to play a very clear chord. So it takes some time to adjust. And this is why a lot of times, students, friends, colleagues, whatever, I'll hear from comments online, a lot of times people feel really strongly about one set of strings, or like, I only like carbon strings, I only like nylon strings. A lot of times it's because I think people switch to the other type, and then they make a really quick judgment and reaction on those strings, again, without giving your hands time to adjust. So whenever you change strings, try not to make a rushed decision on if they're good for your hands or guitar or not. Even here, these are very old strings. They're undoubtedly bad on the trebles. but I'm still thinking about these types of things. Okay, well, I see 8 of you are here now. Can you all let me know how the stream quality is, the audio quality? Let me know if it's sounding good. I'll play one more little example on this Hauser III, and for those of you that are just tuning in, you can see in the description what guitars I'm going to go through. The next one is going to be a Dominique Field from 2001. I think I wrote that down, right? Yes, it's from 2001. So that's coming next. I'll play a little something on this guitar now, on the Hauser III that I'm holding in my lap here. Well, it is a killer guitar, and I cannot wait to show you this one once I've changed the strings and have made a proper video on it. But I'll set this Hauser III from 1989 down. You will not find any information about this guitar on the website because I just got this one in. I have to make a video, take photographs. So if you are curious about what that one might be priced at or something like that, please let me know. You can always reach out to me via email. Here is an awesome Dominique Field from the year 2001. And for those of you that don't know anything about Dominique Field or might know just a little bit, he is kind of seen next in line from Friederich, who was next in line from Robert Boucher. Of course, these are instruments that people like Julian Bream recorded and performed on. There's a famous Boucher stole from Julian Bream that he claimed that no other one touched, really. No other one was quite as good as that one. And that's one of the biggest mysteries out there. I have that one. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, this is Dominique Field. Now, of course, it's not a copy of a Friederich. This is his own unique sound. And even looking inside the guitar, you will see some features of the soundboard. You can look up online. He very openly posts photos of his soundboards, and you can find others' photographs. But they're very unique, and they've got some extra weight to them, but except from, instead of doubling the sides, what Dominique Field does is he puts these little thin strips of wood that you'll see, like if you were to see with x-ray vision through this guitar, you would see them all along here going like this. And you can see it through the sound hole, but it's too dark. I'm not going to be able to show you on the camera. But yeah, the guitar has a very, very quick response and has a ton of volume. Actually, I think you'll notice it's quite a bit louder than the Hauser III. Not that. Volume is something that matters all so much because at the end of the day, you're going to be mic'd to a lot of the places that you play. But in your room, all these guitars sound plenty loud. But listen to this. This guitar has that feeling of like when you're in a sports car and you can just step on the gas. Maybe it's from the power you get from the basses. They definitely, you know, I probably end up saying this in the review video of this guitar, but this guitar feels like, when you play the basses, it feels like the very best Friederich basses of a cedar top Friederich. And, you know, I've talked about this in other places before, but, you know, if you were to be blindfolded and play this guitar, I don't really know that you would detect that it's a spruce top guitar from the depth of the basses and the warmth of the overall sound. Oh my gosh, we've got Dietmar Hubner in the chat here. Dietmar, great respect for your guitars. I've played a couple of them. There's some in Austin here, and they are fantastic. So hello from Berlin. Awesome. Hey, I'm going to be passing through Berlin. We should get together. I think I'll be passing through Berlin in about a month, so I'll write to you. I would love to visit your shop. Yeah, so anyways, this is a, it's hard to think and play when you have a great luthier in the chat here. So, okay, This is a Dominique Field from the year 2001. This is number 146, and I want to show you this Madagascar rosewood on the back. Now this one is on the website, so you can take a look at it, but check that out. Isn't that nice? It is a beautiful set of Madagascar rosewood. The top has a couple of repair cracks in it that were repaired by, oh gosh, I'm going to blank on his name. I was going to say Zlatko. It's not Zlatko. It's a guy that was very famous for repairing guitars in California. Repaired the Romero's guitars and everyone. Gosh, I'm blanking. If someone knows the name, let me know. But I put it on my website, so you could see that there. And that's really the only issue with this guitar is those repaired cracks, which are stable now, repaired by the best of the best, who's retired. Wow, I can't think of his name. But anyways, more about this guitar. It has such a quick response. It's unbelievable. That is so great. Just listen to this. Some of my favorite guitars of all time just have certain areas of the guitar that sparkle that just make you think, gosh, when I have a piece that plays in this area, or maybe you'll refinger something for this area, you just think that will be the best sound that was ever played for that piece. You know, that's what I get excited about on certain guitars, and this is one of them. Just listen to that. You're gonna get bored of me playing in that area, but you tell me. Have you heard a sound better than that on this string? It has like the thickness of like a beautiful third string. If you were to play the same thing on the third string, I mean, this, you can't. But it's such a huge sound, but it also has this brightness to it that cuts through. You know what would sound great on this is something like this area of Capriccio Arabe. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. This makes me want to keep this guitar. Oh, listen to this. How about... Yes, Zeltons. Yeah, Yari Zeltons. That's the name, Don. Sorry, I don't know the piece memorized. You know, to be honest with you, every now and then, and honestly, it happens quite often, but every now and then there's a guitar that I have in my shop here that I think, why is this still here? Am I just hearing things? Maybe this guitar isn't as good as I think, or maybe it just matches me well, but it's a stunning guitar. It's one of the best guitars here, if not the best. You know, in fact, I've had the pleasure of playing the Dominique Field, that Raphael, I'm going to butcher his name, but the wonderful French guitarist, Raphael Friederich, who won the GFA, records for Deutsche Grammophon now. I've played on his Dominique Field, or formerly his Field, and this one feels just like that, to be honest. Just like it. I just don't get it how there's so much volume and so much responsiveness on this guitar. Oh, sorry if that peaks the microphones. I suppose I should play something an actual piece. Oh, goosebump inspiring. That's what I'll say about this guitar. Yeah, fantastic. It's on the website. I've made a whole video of this guitar, so you've seen enough. Beautiful Lessie tuners. I mistook these for Rogers at first, but they are in fact a Lessie. I'm going to let this focus. I'm not going to give up. There we go. Look at those. Woo! It's such a beautiful guitar. I would not be upset to keep this one for longer. Okay, time to move on. Okay, next up, we have this little guy. This is an Antonio Marin Montero from the year 2023. Now, it doesn't say it on the label, but it's written on one of the braces, actually. And this guitar is on consignment. I'm selling this for someone who has a lot of fantastic instruments. But wow, was I surprised. Now, I have another Marin Montero here. That's a 2014 Boucher model. That's, as of this live stream right now, is still available. It actually, I think it might sell today or tomorrow. But anyways, I have a 2014 normal, like his Boucher / Antonio Marin Montero model. This one is his Torres model. Copy of a Torres is what he literally writes on the brace, copia Torres. And there's actually photos on my site of Marin Montero holding this very guitar when it was finished and during the construction. This is Brazilian rosewood back and sides. You can see it looks fantastic. We block my face so it focuses. And this thing packs a punch. It is smaller in body size, like a first epoch Torres. And the neck is also 640 millimeters. So it's a little bit easier to play. It still has a very full feeling neck. I wouldn't say it's thick. It's just got, it's like very much a C-shaped neck, but it's a little bit bigger in size, I suppose. But it feels very comfortable when it's paired with the 640 scale, I have to say. So. You know, on this guitar, the response time isn't quite as fast. It's not a negative, by the way. It's just a different feeling. But it still is really quick. I mean, this thing is incredibly easy to play, and it's got a lot of volume. And gosh, when you lay into it, I'm making sure not to buzz the mics here. But anyways, it's so responsive, so warm of a sound. But when you play with Recital, it's great. Let's see what Mercado says here. Yes, that's right. That is exactly right. Mercado says Antonio Marin is a legend. At 91, he's practically retired, no longer working. That's right. Yes, I've heard that as well, and as he should be at 91. You gotta stop. You know, that's a long time. Yeah, Antonio Montero is the legend of Granada. That is the he's been making guitars for a long time. He built guitars with Boucher over the summers. There's great stories about this online you can read, and that's where his most popular models came from. I believe it was Montero that came to Boucher asking him for feedback on the guitar. But it's a fantastic instrument. Listen to this fourth string. This one shines to me. Hey, listen to that. That sixth string really pops actually. When I hit it, even when I try to play quietly, it really comes out. It's got this thick Spanish sound to it. 11 people watching now. That's great. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad the stream says it's good now. Hopefully it's better quality than last time. Always trying to improve here. But yeah, this one is again from 2023, Antonio Montero. It's got a real sparkle to it. Let me play a little bit of this. Gosh, what is the name? Pavana by Torres. Strings is vibrating against the top here from the string ends, so I gotta mess with that in a little bit. But yeah, it's you hear. Sorry, it's a weird thing. One of these is touching, but okay. So yeah, it sounds so nice. Oh, I know what I'll play. Buzzing is getting annoying, so sorry about that. But yeah, this is a great Antonio Montero. Check it out on the site. I've made a full video on this thing. It's in perfect condition. I don't think there is a single mark on this top. Yeah, there's little things if you really lean in the light, but there's not like Raschiato marks or string dings or anything like that. It's perfect. Yeah, wow. And nothing on the back either. So yeah. Hello to those of you that are still here. We are about to go to our last guitar. So for those of you that that waited, you have made it to the Dammann, the final boss. This one is the one I just released a video on Sunday. Hello, those of you just joining here. This is the guitar, the 1994 Matthias Dammann, that I posted a video of on Sunday. Actually, I think it's the best performing video so far on this channel, with a bunch of new people discovering the channel from it. So that is very cool, but I thought I would bring this guitar back out, even though it's probably filled your ears through the video. The Nokia song, yes, Ricardo, you got it from the Torres piece I was playing on the Montero. Grand Valse. This is Matthias Dammann from the year 1994, one of his early double tops. It has a CITES certified Brazilian rosewood back and sides, which I swear, no matter what light I tilt it in, you cannot see. It's just very shiny and very dark. So you have to like bring it outside to see how great the Brazilian is. But that's how awesome it is. You know, like you'll see in the video, if you haven't watched it yet, by the way, you should check it out. But it's a 54 millimeter nut on this guitar. It is a wide neck, but it is a very thin neck, and it is very C-shaped. So it's quite easy to play, to be honest with you. But if you have very small hands, I think it would not be an easy guitar to play because of the wider neck. So watch out for that. It's also 655 scale, so 5 millimeters longer than the typical 650 scale guitar. That is not so noticeable, to be honest with you, but I think first thing you would notice is the width of the neck. I have left the string spacing to be very wide. I think it's 44 millimeters from the 6 to the 1st. And that is that's really wide, but you could have a new nut made where it was the standard 42, for instance. And I'm very curious to do that, honestly, because most of the time the width doesn't bother me, but every now and then I feel like, oh, that's a little wide. But overall, I feel like I play very comfortably on this guitar. And man, it's so nice. Let me answer a couple of questions here. Dietmar, hello again. What kind of strings do you use on these guitars? You know, it's a common question. I mean, some places will use the same strings on every guitar, and most of the time I do that. But if a guitar demands a certain set of strings, as in I hear it and I think, oh, that carbon second string doesn't sound very good on it, or whatever it is, I will change it to that. On most of the instruments, I am playing D'Addario EJ45 strings on it, the X series, with a carbon G and B string and a nylon first string. However, that's not the case for this guitar. It's also, wow, it's also not the case on the Marin Montero. I have nylon on all the strings on this Marin Montero, which I think sounds great on it. I also have all nylon on the Hauser III over here. But the Dominique Field and this Dammann both have carbon on the G and B. I am personally a hater of carbon on the first string. I used to love it, I have to say. I used to love it, and there are some advantages. It's a little bit more even, and there's not a big of a jump between the second and the first string. But I cannot stand the sound anymore. I have to play here in order to get like that really, really sweet sound I get out of nylon from playing here. This guitar has nylon first string. So yes, sometimes I have to say some guitars I have demand Savarez basses. Okay, I have a couple right now that demand Savarez basses. This is not one of them. It sounds good with Savarez, but this is D'Addario basses here. And a couple of guitars, this is one of them, that demand a lighter tension carbon treble. So on the G and B string here, I have a Knobloch Active Series medium tension. And I find that to be great. I have a real Franken set of strings on this Dammann. It's, D'Addario basses, Knobloch medium tension actives on the G and B, and a medium tension or high tension, I'm not sure which actually, I have it written down in a document, but Savarez New Cristal first string, which I think really pops on this guitar. So it's a real Franken set of strings, but one thing I decided for sure is that the other carbon strings on the G and B do not work on this guitar. They're just too tight. I prefer nylon greatly in that case. But I think these Knobloch G and B sound great, and the D'Addario basses, these are old strings now, and they still sound so good. Actually, every string on this guitar, even when I made the video, is probably 4 weeks old. And I play on this guitar a lot, to be honest with you. And I think that's one thing that D'Addario has on everything else. They last the longest. The basses last so long. I'm a little biased because my personal brand, Evan Tauscher, me as a guitarist, I'm an artist of D'Addario, but that doesn't have to do with this channel. I just put on whatever strings I think sound best on the guitar. Maybe someday one of these companies will want to sponsor this channel, so that could be cool. Oh, okay, someone writes, compare Dammann 1994 and Friederich 1994. A missed opportunity. No, I don't have the 1994 Friederich anymore. That guitar sold many months ago, 4, 5, 6 months ago. But man, that would be a really awesome, fun comparison to do, because I love that Friederich, and maybe you're asking for the same reason, because I do think that this Dammann shares a lot in common with that Friederich. And I know, maybe that sounds sacrilegious, but it does. Great, fundamental, amazing overtones, not too much overtones, but just enough beautiful ones to keep you wanting to play the next note. Lots of volume, and I would say maybe the Friederich is a little bit more airy sounding, or a little bit more woody sounding. This Dammann is a little more piano sounding. But yeah, that would be an awesome comparison. I did have the other Friederich, the 1968 Friederich, a very different Friederich, but a very nice one with me here that I might take out for you guys. What do you say? If a couple of new people who haven't commented yet leave a comment of anything, you could just say hi. I will take out one last guitar here, the 1968 Friederich. But I ought to play a little bit longer on this Dammann. That wasn't the ending. Oh man, isn't that nice? You just don't get bored of this sound. Okay, tell me that's not amazing. There are some real ringers in this stream, and 2 new people didn't comment, so you don't get the Friederich. No, I'm kidding. I'll take it out. So pardon me, I'm going to scoot this guitar case. I just thought, how terrible would it be if I'm doing one of these streams and I just destroy the guitar or something by accident? I have to be very careful because I don't want this to be clipped and shared, you know. Here it is. I have a 1968, sorry, I'm not facing the mic here. This is a real beauty of Friederich, and I was talking a little bit ago about guitars that I have here that just for some reason haven't sold, and it blows my mind. This is one of them. This is a very, very special Friederich from the year 1968. It is so fantastic. I mean, it might be out of tune here, but wonderful sounding, right? Let me tune this thing. This is a recital model Friederich, which does not bear a number, but there weren't like some makers where, you know, it's built in a factory. So I mean, this was made by Friederich. So they don't go for quite as much money as the ones that have a number that are his concert model. But oh my gosh. What I like about these recital model Friedrichs is that they're a little bit lighter built. They don't have the doubled sides. I mean, this is 1968, so this is a little bit before he was doing the doubled sides anyways. That was more like the mid-70s to late 70s. But this thing is one of those guitars that you feel vibrate against you so strongly, and it's very, very responsive. This one has the Dario EJ45 strings all through, carbon GNB D'Addario nylon first string. And I think I mentioned this in the review video of this guitar, but there's a very odd... Yeah, on certain notes on this guitar, they're not wolf tones. I know what that sounds and feels like, but on certain notes on this guitar, you feel this area of the instrument vibrating so much. It punches you a little bit. It feels really nice, actually. It feels like you're activating more of the guitar. Hope you don't mind me getting a little silly with Capriccio Robe there. And you know what? Maybe in the live streaming this is getting compressed a little bit, but the dynamic range on this is just beautiful. And it's just so colorful. I know I can do this. It's a fantastic Friederich. You feel really free everywhere. As I speak, I hear the guitar speaking to me. It's great. Really low action, super easy to play. Fustero tuners here. Yeah, they are Fustero tuners. Yep, Fustero, the original Fusteros. I think they're the original Fusteros. Gosh, they don't have a lot of tarnish to them. Oh, they do. I would say they're original. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Since I came to YouTube, you're the only few player you like because your playing and videos are so natural and like the breeze. Oh, that's really kind. That's sweet. Thank you for that. My first login on the website's 2007. Nice. You know what? Mine is around the same time. If you guys want to go embarrass me, you can go look up my name, Evan Tauscher, and look up my channel there. I think one of my first uploads, I want to say it's 2006 or 2007, electric guitar stuff. And I was fascinated by YouTube then. And I got to tell you a very unfortunate story, is that as I started to get better at electric guitar and also older, I was going through puberty and getting older, and like my voice was changing, so I was like very embarrassed of my older videos. I started deleting videos off of my channel because I was embarrassed of them. I'm talking about when I was like 18 years old. I'm looking at videos of me when I was like 14 or 15, and I was embarrassed, so I removed the videos. Back then, they didn't have the option to set it to unlisted or private. It was just online or offline. And I think I backed up those videos somewhere, but unfortunately, the hard drive that had all my backup and all that stuff one time got stolen. My car got broken into, and I had a backpack in there. This is a dumb mistake. Never leave a backpack exposed in your car, in the United States at least. My laptop got stolen, my hard drive got stolen, so a lot of those old videos are gone, but I still have some that I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep this on here. So I'm glad I had that mindset, and there are some old videos. And also some very old classical guitar videos from, the earliest would be 2011, I think. So, kind of fun. So I better get off this stream. I've been streaming for almost an hour now, but boy has it been fun showing you these different guitars. Hopefully I showed you enough of this 1968 Friederich. Oh, you know what? One last thing I want to say about this guitar is that the neck shape is really nice. I have to say one drawback of the typical concert model Friederich of the late 80s and 90s and early 2000s, that the necks are, in my opinion, abominable. They're tough. They're very hard to play. And Friederich knew this. He even wrote, I don't know if this is an Orfeo article, but I've read articles that he wrote or responded to things where he said, my necks are harder to play now, but also, he said, my guitars are harder to play now, but also the level of players has increased greatly and their finger dexterity is better. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, don't do that to us. You know? But anyways, these earlier guitars actually have a much thinner neck, much more rounded, and gosh, I like that. You know, that 94 Friederich I had, I did find that it played very easy. The neck was a little bit bigger. But, you know, if that was the guitar that I was going to play with, like, for the foreseeable future, only that guitar, as sacrilegious as it is, I would have had someone shape that neck. And I don't really care if it changed the sound, because it would just be too hard to play an entire concert on. Now, if you were home practicing, playing a few pieces, testing out the guitar, you would think it's great. But the neck was pretty big to where you were feeling like constantly like it could just be a little bit smaller, then your life would be easier. We've all played guitars that are like that, right? That's not the feeling you get on this recital. I wouldn't touch this neck. This is great. Well, I'll leave it at that. I want to thank you for watching the stream. If you're curious about any of these guitars that I went through, and by the way, we went through this Hauser III. I'm going to be careful here. This one is not on the website yet, so please send me an email if you're interested in it. It's in brand new condition from 1989. And I also have this Dominique Field from 2001, which was the next one we went through. As well as the Antonio Marin Montero to my left here. This one is a 2023 Torres model. There is a video of this one as well as the Dominique Field and Friederich. And then lastly, the Dammann over here, which you had seen before because that video went live Sunday. And I did the bonus round here of the Daniel Friederich from 1968. This video will be time-stamped if you want to go back and watch any part of it. Thanks so much for watching, you all. And for tuning in. 13 people viewing right now, so I'm sorry to go. But I look forward to seeing you next week at the same time, 11 a.m. Central Time. And there will be another video published this Sunday. So I'll see you there. Thanks so much for watching, and reach out if you have any questions.